Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Welcome to At America. My name is Sadila, one of the e-guides here in At America. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy in this very fine day. Our event for today is GED test preparation, reasoning through language art. But before we start the event, I have here a little trivia. Did you know that the GED test was originally developed for American soldiers from World War II who wanted to complete their high school? And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to our facilitator, Zakaria Shadkam, GED qualified instructor. Zach, the time is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Hello and welcome everyone to another session of GED Prep Class. In fact, the last session of GED Prep Class by America. And this is Reasoning Through Language Arts or English. So without wasting any time, I'm going to share my screen. And I hope you can see it. If you can't, please do let me know, but you should be able to see it. Anyway, so this is session 16. And as you all know, in the beginning, when we started the program, we said that this program will last for 8 weeks. Unfortunately, we had to cancel one of the sessions. But anyway, the intention was that the program would have 16 sessions, and this is session 16. And so far, we have covered almost everything. From nonfiction, reading nonfiction in general, to analyzing nonfiction. We know what any nonfiction text consists of, and we know what any fiction text has, what text structures are used by writers, what main idea is. We talked about theme, inference, figurative language, anything. We know genre, we know subgenre, and basically we are masters of reading fiction and non-fiction. And without wasting any time, because today this is the last session, and I hope you guys have your questions ready, because after this we won't be able to be in contact or get your questions as easily as we could, or still we can. So please have your questions ready, and while I go through the previous session's topics, write down your questions in the chat box if you are joining this session through Zoom, and if you are joining this session or attending this session through other platforms, write down your questions in the chat box, and we will get to them. This is very sad, this last session. Okay, who knows? Something might be happy. Anyway, so this is a recap of session 15. In the previous session, we talked about punctuation marks, the punctuations. We talked about end marks. We said that end marks are used in 3 different occasions. There are 3 different types of end marks. First one is period or full stop. This is used at the end of affirmative statements or declarative sentences. The next one is question mark. This is used when an interrogative sentence is used. So this is used after a question, so to indicate that this is a question, and questions have their own tone, and this should be a question mark. So, do you drink coffee in the morning? Do you drink coffee in the morning? Do you drink coffee in the morning? There are different ways, but anyway. So the third one is exclamation mark. This is usually said at the end of exclamatory sentences, or sentences where there is excitement or fear. And the next one is comma. Comma, we said that this is one of the most misused punctuation marks in English language. It is used to separate phrases. It's used to separate items in a sentence or list items. And this is used to also directly address someone, like in here you can see, thanks, Josh. Hey, and then the name of the person. And colon, we said that this is used to introduce something or a series of things, like in here you can see this also being used to kind of in between two kind of related sentences. But when you are sure we said that these sentences are closely related, you have to use a semicolon or semicolon. Next one is dash. There are two types of dash, N dash and M dash. We said that N dash is the shorter one. And that is used when you want to kind of indicate or denote range or show range, basically. Like I worked there from 2020 dash in dash 2021. And that means I worked there from 2020 until 2021. And then there is M dash. We said that this is the longer one. And this is used instead of comma and colons and parentheses. Like my response is clear. And you can see the M dash, no. So we could also, we simply could use colon in there. My response is clear, like we could introduce something and say no. Next one is a hyphen. We said that this is used to combine. Oh, what is wrong in here? So we said that this is used to combine. This is used to combine different words in order to maybe, sorry for the mistake. This is used to combine different words, so two or more words to make one compound word. And you can see the examples like step-by-step, brother-in-law, long-term. And then there is bracket. This is used to clarify something, a technical term or a pronoun, or also provide explanation. For instance, you can see a he, and then you see the bracket, the opening bracket, John, and then the closing bracket. This is used instead of, for instance, someone might not know whom this sentence is about, or whom this pronoun he is used for. That's why you see the brackets they're having John inside them. So he, John, that's implied, told her, Jasmine again, is a pronoun, and you might not be sure about whom her is used for. That's why Jasmine is placed inside the brackets. About Tim and Tara's acceptance in the team. And then you have parentheses. We said that you add further details, the meaning of something. Like Carl, who likes working out. And we know this sentence could actually work without adding the detail who likes working out, or Carl liking working out. But this is further detail. This kind of adds to the meaning of the sentence, and after reading this sentence, you might feel more informed, but without the parentheses and the information inside the parentheses, this sentence would still work and would still be fine. Anyway, next one is apostrophe. We said that this is used in contractions. Contractions meaning when you shorten words. This is like I can't, it isn't, instead of it is not, you say it isn't, and then you use apostrophe. And also this is used to show position. Like, have you seen the latest? Have you seen, for instance, Ryan Gosling's latest movie, The Grey Man? Chris Evans, anyway. It was a great movie, by the way, watch it. And quotation marks. We say that this is used to denote speech, text, or words spoken by someone else. And this is used when you want to use the exact words used by the person you want to quote or you want to use the words of. Next one is ellipses. We said just 3 dots. And when you see ellipses, you know that there has been omission, meaning the rest or some part of the text has been omitted or deleted or removed or let out, because the writer or the author assumes that the audience or the reader knows what's coming next. That's that. And we went on to talk about some strategies on how we can approach GED, and how you can pass GED, prepare and pass GED. So we talked about preparation. We said that you have to kind of form some groups if you want to really succeed. But if you work alone better, it's fine. Some people enjoy studying alone, and it's absolutely fine. But if you are someone who enjoys studying with others, please form groups where you can study together and be committed to that group. Always be on time, to not skip any of the gatherings that you have, or the gatherings of the study group that you have. And also create a meticulous or detailed plan, like when will you study a topic, how many passages will you read and answer the questions for, and have a specific time that you will study, and be consistent. It's mentioned here as well, be consistent, and I cannot insist on this enough. And practice as much as you can, especially the topics that you're not good at. You might be good at a lot of topics, but there are some topics that you might not feel as confident as you do about the other topics. So in order to become truly ready, you have to practice. Don't, we do intend to spend most of our time in our comfort zone, and sometimes our comfort zone actually weakens us, because we feel comfortable solving specific types of questions, and then that might get the dopamine release, and we might feel happy as if we have accomplished something. But true accomplishment comes after you have after you work on the topics, or activities that you're not really fond of, but they are good for you. So practice the topics that you're not good at, even more than the topics you are good at. And schedule the test at least 2 weeks before that. Anyway, these are topics that we talked about. And about for the test, we said that be physically prepared. You have to have had a well-balanced meal, proper sleep, and you have to be in good health. Don't go with a headache and take the test and expect to get a good score. And during the test itself, read the instructions and look for words like accept, not, because we miss them. And don't hurry. No one's chasing you, and we said that except for the time, which is chasing you. Don't worry about that. If you manage your time, and if you go according to the plan that you have developed that works for you. If not, then you can follow this that I have created, and you will be fine. And answer the questions based on the passage that you read, not your external knowledge, unless they are kind of context clues, where you are expected to know meanings of words from your past experience, so from the external world, the world outside the passage. And always look for the 2 options that are way off, and you can see them. You can clearly see which options are really wrong, and just cross them off, and ignore them and focus on the two that you are a bit confused about. Anyway, if you want to know more about this, watch the previous session. I went into detail about this. And last but not least, make sure you select the option that you want to select. Sometimes you want to select B and then your mouse kind of clicks on C and you don't notice it. Be sure that you have selected the option that you want to select. In today's session, we are going to go through some questions. We are going to practice and maybe explore Notion. Notion, if you don't remember, I hope you do, and I hope that you have been visiting Notion, because there is some great plan for Notion, and it will be one of the best resources that you can have to prepare for this RLA test. And we are going to practice. We are going to practice genre and subgenre, and also text structure. And we are going to talk about some of the topics that you might need help with. Or if you don't need help with any topics, we are going to talk about some more grammar rules. And if we're going to the next slide, as you can see in here, I want you all to open your Mentimeter if you have the application on your phone. If you don't, go to the website mentimeter.com and enter this code. And after entering this code, you will see the questions that you see here on my screen. And I want to, these are open-ended questions, meaning that you have to write your own answers. And this is just about this program and to see if you have learned anything. Anyway, open your Mentimeter or go to mentimeter.com and write down the code 9393042373. And after that, answer the questions that you see on Mentimeter. Like the first one, you can see the first one here. What did you know about GED before you joined this program? And for this, you'll have maybe until 3:25. Okay, that is your time. And now we are going to see what you have written. So in here, I can see that you have written the first question, what did you know about GED before you joined this program? You have written that I only knew little things. Basically, there are 4 topics, and by having the GED diploma, I will be able to enter most colleges and universities in the US and any other countries around the world. Well, you knew a lot. Well done. Yes, you are right. There are 4 tests and 4 subjects. You will be tested based on your knowledge on subjects English, RLA, which is reasoning through language arts, social studies, which is about history of the US, and also some geography and science, chemistry, biology, and not, I think there is some physics, but not a lot. And also mathematics, math. Okay, not much, just it's a program for those who didn't go to school. Yes, that is a good amount of information to have by GED. If you are not able to obtain or get your high school diploma and you want to go to university, then GED is for you because, as mentioned by the other person, the first uh, getting your GED diploma will actually make you eligible to go to most of the universities in the US and other countries. I knew it has 4 tests. Okay, good information. Yes, you're right. Next one is name a few things you learned during this program: grammar, difference between fiction and non-fiction. Okay, well done. Punctuation, grammar, main idea and generalization. Great. Reading comprehension, fantastic. Punctuation, figurative language, and essay structure. Oh, text structure. Well done. Yes, you have learned a lot. Well done. Next one is how confident are you about having learned the topics taught during this program? Very confident and confident enough. Fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that. You people are very confident and people are confident enough. I'm sure by practicing a bit more, you will be able to take GED tests and get your diploma. What topics taught during this program have you learned? Well, grammar. Grammar is a bit vague. It's not specific, like maybe because we talk about only about parts of speech and verb tense. So, but we will go through some more grammar rules in English later on in today's session. So English grammar and different types of texts. Yes, well done. The English grammar and different types of texts. Okay, there are. Okay, maybe it was written by the same person. These two were written by the same person anyway. The way of writing, figurative language, and punctuation, those are now better understanding. Okay, I'm glad that you understand them better now. Great main idea, genre. Yes, it was great. I don't think we talked about yes, it was great topic. But anyway, I'm glad you learned that. So what topics do you feel you need to work on? Not, I need to improve my vocabulary, yes. And text structure. Not, I need to improve my vocabulary. Okay, for that you can read books. You can maybe not memorize words. I am absolutely against memorizing words. You have to know them, know them by heart. And memorizing words, I don't think it's the right way. Using them is great. Like write something with new words that you learn, and just solely memorizing them is not a good technique because you'll forget them in the long term. Anyway, text structure, yes, text structure is something we are going to practice today. So I'm glad about that. I think that's that, and yep. Now for this next slide, before we go there, I want you to stay on Mentimeter application if you are using your phone to answer the questions on Mentimeter. But if you are using your computer, stay on the website, because the next one, I am going to assess you, assess your understanding of different types of text structure. Like we talked about compare and contrast, we talked about problem and solution, we talked about chronological order, we talked about sequential writing, we talked about descriptive writing and spatial writing, or spatial writing. Anyway, so stay on Mentimeter and this time write down this code, because today's the last session and I hope we can practice. And in the end, we'll talk about some grammar rules. Anyway, 6867171. That is the code that you write down. And then when you go there, you will see a passage like this. For instance, this one is 1 divisions. And then you will see this question: what text structure is used for the paragraph in the previous slide? And then based on this slide, based on the structure used in this, you answer this question, and you choose whether it's chronological order, whether it's sequential writing or sequence, whether it's cause and effect, problem and solution, compare and contrast. Okay, and now it's 3:32. There are going to be 5 slides and 5 questions for you. So I'm going to give you maybe until 3:40, 42, 10 minutes to answer the questions. And I hope you enjoy it. See you at 3:42. Okay, that is your time, and as you know, this is about the Revolutionary War or the fight for independence of the US, and it had 5 paragraphs. The first paragraph is divisions, talks about 2 divisions. It talks about the division between the American soldiers, and also talks about 2 groups, and the text structure that is used for this paragraph, and you roll right, it's compare and contrast. And if you look at the paragraph, you see that it talks about similarities and differences. So the text structure used here is compare and contrast. Well done. For the second paragraph, the turning point, you can see, let's see how you have answered. Okay. Some of you have said chronological, and most of you have said cause and effect. Okay. So when you say chronological order of or the text order based on the time of the incident, you know that that is not the case here. Even though it might look like, okay, what happened first and then what happened next, but the time we don't really know exactly which ones, for instance, so the battles of Saratoga will be remembered as a pivotal moment in this fight. We know that this is actually a cause and effect text because it talks about a few important battles in the Revolutionary War, and it talks about the importance of the battles of Saratoga, and talks about they're saying that, okay, though they had previously lost numerous battles, the Americans captured British General Burgoyne's army during the battles of Saratoga. And then, okay, that is the cause, and then the effect is the victory convinced other countries, especially France, that the Americans could win the war, and that is the effect. And because of this, and then it makes that effect another cause, and so that because of this, not only did France declare war on England, but other nations also began openly supporting the American fight for independence. And because of this in here, could also refer to the first part of the paragraph about the wins the American soldiers had against the British Army. Okay, now let's see. Yes, 75% of you are absolutely right. It is cause and effect text structure. Now, guerrilla warfare, number 3. Let's see how you guys have answered. Okay, problem and solution, 60%. This is a really good one because 60% of you have said problem and solution, 20% of you have said sequence and sequential writing, and 20% said compare and contrast. Now let's see. So in most cases, American soldiers could not stand toe to toe against British soldiers. Okay, this is an informative sentence. The British were better trained, better armed, and more experienced when the American soldiers attempted to match the British. They suffered heavy losses. Okay, this is a problem, right? Okay, so the problem is that the British soldiers were better trained and more experienced. So the American soldiers could not actually stand toe to toe against them. And what was the solution? So the Americans had to use what advantages they had. So they developed what are now known as guerrilla warfare tactics. We know that this was the solution. So there was a problem, and now we see that the author actually has written a solution to that problem. So we know that this is a problem and solution. The structure, this paragraph is problem and solution structure. Let's see paragraph 4, fire kick. Okay, good name. So American soldiers during the Revolutionary War suffered horrible conditions to win independence. Yes, you can experience some of these conditions by eating the same food that soldiers ate at Valley Forge. Fire cake. Fire cake is a horrible tasting form of burnt gluten. To make some, and there should be a comma here. First, mix flour with water until you get thick damp dough. Then form it into a cake and in your palms. Put this doughy lump on a greased cookie sheet and bake it until it's brown. This will be very similar to the awful fire cakes that American soldiers ate at Valley Forge. Okay, enjoy. We know that this is actually sequence writing. It talks about different steps. First you do this, then you do that, and then this is also used in textbooks, textbooks of university textbooks and school textbooks where they tell you how to answer the questions, how to do the activities, and this is the same structure. And this is a sequence structure. No? Yep, 40%. You are right. And the remaining 60%, please read the text again, and you will see that this is a sequential writing structure. Now, 5, allies. So during the Revolutionary War, Americans learned just how important friends can be. When the Americans declared independence on July 4th, 1776, they had virtually no allies. But on February 6th, 1778, after the American victory at Saratoga, this is the same battle that we read about in one of the previous paragraphs, paragraph 2. The French assisted the American cause. The French went into deep debt helping the Americans. The Americans would receive additional help in June of 1779 and then when the Spanish soldiers joined the fight against the British, they would secure southern ports and supply lines. Without the help of these allies, many more Americans would have died in the fight for independence. Yes, that is true. And after just reading this, we know that events are actually mentioned based on the order that they happen. For instance, it talks about Americans not having any ally when they declared independence on July 4th, 1776, and then goes on to talk about the French actually assisting Americans on February 6th, 1778, and then goes on to say that more help, more assistance would arrive in June of 1779. This is at the time when the Spanish joined the fight against the British. So we know that incidents are mentioned based on the time, based on the order of time they happened. So this is a chronological order. Now let's see how you guys have done. Yes, you are absolutely right. Okay, well done. Now we have another practice. Today's practice day, because we have most of the topics. So today's practice day. The next one is genre and subgenre. This is yep, Donut Wizards by Clark Greco. So these are the main genres and subgenres. That nonfiction, you have information writing, persuasive writing, autobiography, and biography. Fiction, you have realistic fiction, science fiction, historical fiction, and fantasy. I hope you know the differences. Information writing just informs you about something, does not try to challenge any of your beliefs or opinions. Persuasive writing challenges your opinions. based on one topic or one thing. Autobiography is written by someone about their own life, and biography is written by someone else about someone's life. Fiction, it's basically made up writing or made up text. And we have realistic fiction, things that can happen or could happen, but uh, does not happen or has not happened. Science fiction is based on futuristic technologies and scientific improvements. And historical fiction is actually based in the past, and this is an incident that could happen, but did not happen. Fantasy, again, it's fiction writing, but it also has magic, and I think the name gives away a lot. The title of this passage actually gives a lot. Anyway, so 3 is drama. You have drama, which is meant to be acted on stage. You have comedy and tragedy. Drama, comedy is when the story ends very well for the main character or the characters involved in the story. So it has happy ending. And tragedy does not have happy ending. The main character or the characters affected by the incident either end up dead or in much worse situation than they were before the incident. And then you have poetry, it's concerned with the beauty of language, and folklore, it's handed down through speech from one generation to another. And you have fairy tale, which has magic, just like fiction fantasy. But this one is actually handed down from one generation to another through speech. So this one is not in writing. Excuse me. And then you have fable. We said that fable, they have a lesson, have a moral lesson for you to learn. You have myth and you have legend. We said myth, they are about gods, creations, and how the world was created. And they created the world. And these are just stories told by people. And legend, we said that this could be true at some point, but now it's so exaggerated that it just sounds like fantasy. Anyway, good luck, and you have until 4. There are going to be 12. There are going to be 8 of these, and you'll have to actually write down 8 answers. So you have 15 minutes until 4:10. I hope that's enough. And good luck. Okay, that is it. And I hope you were able to answer the questions, and I hope you did not have any difficulty writing down the genres, main genres, and subgenres. The really short passages. Okay, so the first one, let's see how you guys have answered. Okay, so what are the genre and subgenre of the passage in the previous slide? So fantasy, fiction, drama, fiction, fantasy, fiction, fantasy. Okay, so most of you think that it's fiction, fantasy, and most of you are right. So how do we know that? So we know that fiction means fiction writing is basically writing that is made up, and fantasy has magic. When you read this, yes, Donut Wizards by Clark Greco, wizards, no magicians. So Brandon and Angie are twins with special powers. They can magically create donuts. This makes them very popular at school until they get into an argument while Angie is casting a spell, and Angie accidentally turns the entire school into a sprinkle covered donut. So with no easy way to undo the children of the community must go to school inside of the giant donut until Brandon and Angie can figure out how to reverse the spell. Okay, spell has magic. So it's fantasy and it's fiction. It's made up. It cannot be true. And this is not told by anyone. This is written. We know it's fiction. And it has magic. We know it's fantasy. So yes, well done. Most of you are absolutely right. This is fiction and fantasy. So 2, Science and You by John Woolley. So Dr. Woolley has a way with science. In his textbook, Dr. Woolley takes challenging scientific concepts and explains them in simple terms. Dr. Woolley focuses on scientific concepts that interest young adolescents, such as how a plane, how a phone functions, how a sprinkler works, and why diamonds sparkle so brightly. Sparkle so brightly, diamonds sparkle. So what are the genre and subgenre? Science fiction, fiction, science fiction, fiction, science fiction, and nonfiction, autobiography, nonfiction, informational writing. You are absolutely right. This is actually nonfiction and information writing. How do you know that? Okay, first of all, this was science. It's not a futuristic science. We know that. And challenging scientific concepts and explains them in simple terms. Talks about how a phone functions. We have a phone. It's not futuristic. And how a sprinkler works. We have sprinklers. And why diamonds sparkle so brightly. We know diamonds and we know the reason why they sparkle so brightly. So this is actually informational writing and nonfiction. So you might be confused about this being fiction, but this is not, because first of all, it's not made up. It's in this textbook. Textbooks is used usually in schools and in teaching. Now let's go to the next one. So I Miss the Milky Way by Pat Meehan. After unlocking a secret puzzle from a gumball machine that no one else could solve, Roger is abducted by aliens. Okay, has aliens. Now, a tip for you all: whenever you see aliens, written down somewhere, whenever you see aliens being discussed, because the possibility of aliens existing in the universe is quite high. I mean, aliens can exist because the universe is so vast and so large that it is almost impossible to imagine that we are alone in this world. So that's why aliens are considered, science fiction are considered to be possibly uh, to exist, basically. And in the future, you know, species from different planets, so intelligent beings from different planets and different solar systems and different, basically, galaxies will be able to communicate. And this is why aliens are considered, aliens are in the category of science fiction and not fantasy, like wizards. Because wizards, they have no natural, the abilities of wizards have no natural explanation, and their existence have not been proved. So anyway, so we know that as soon as you read aliens, I think it's science fiction, unless the aliens can do magic, and that's fantasy. So he meets, okay, problem solving. These aliens want to use Roger's problem solving skills to crack a secret code that is preventing them from returning to their home world. Roger agrees to help them, but it takes much longer than he originally thought. He meets many strange space creatures and makes lots of interesting friends. But Roger misses his home and homeworld too. Will he ever break the secret code? And will he ever see his family and friends again? You know, this is fiction, and this is science fiction. It has aliens. Let's see how you guys have done. Science fiction, science fiction. I can see why you have written fantasy, but if you don't believe in aliens, maybe in your personal view, you can say that this is fantasy. But in GED text, choose fiction, science fiction, if you are asked this question. Okay, The Wolf and the Crane, retold by Aesop. Okay, retold. So adapted. When you see those phrases in the title, or any of those phrases, in the title of a passage, either adapted or retold, just directly go to folklore and then read the text. So a wolf who had a bone stuck in his throat promised a crane a large sum of money to put her head into his mouth and take out the bone. When the crane had removed the bone, she asked for the promised payment. The wolf, grinning and grinding his teeth, exclaimed, I think that you have already been paid sufficiently in having been allowed to remove your head in the safety of the mouth and jaws of a whale. Oh, that's all. Yeah, in case you did not know. So the moral of the story is that you should expect no reward when serving the wicked. Wicked means the evil ones. Nasty. Okay, so we know this is folklore. We know this is retold. Okay, and we knew that fables are the subgenre of folklore, which include a lesson. And this story has a lesson. The moral of this story is that you should expect no reward when serving the wicked. So we know that this is folklore and fable. This is folklore and this is fable. Okay, folklore and fairy tale. It does not have magic. So if it had magic, then it would have been fairy tale. Historical fiction, no, it is not based in any time in history. It's impossible for this to be historical fiction, realistic fiction. I can see why you think that, but so realistic meaning this could happen, but worlds, so to speak, and they do not make deals and promises, like that. So that kind of immediately removes the idea of this being realistic. So fiction realism, no, this is not realistic. Well, it's going to talk, and also this not written, this is retold. So this is actually folklore and fable. It has a moral as well. So you can see here, the moral of the story is that you should expect no reward when serving the wicked. Okay, let's go to the next one. So Marie Curie, the First Lady of Science by Eric Lauren. So Marie Curie was the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize and the only person to win Nobel Prizes in multiple sciences. She is best remembered for her work with radiation and her theory of radioactivity. Curie actually coined the phrase radioactivity. Lauren tells the true story of Curie's life. He covers her youth in Poland, her adulthood in Paris, and her groundbreaking research with radioactive materials. Okay. Just by reading this, we know that someone has written about Marie Curie's life, about her youth in Poland, her adulthood in Paris, and her groundbreaking research with radioactive materials. We know that this is not fiction, this is not made up, this is not folklore, and this is not drama, this is not poetry. This is non-fiction, and this is biography, written by someone about someone else's life. Okay. Yes, biography, non-fiction biography. Not informational, could be informational, but when you write about someone's life in an informative way, that is called biography. And technically, you would be right. It's non-fiction and it's informs about Marie Curie's life, but it has a specific name for that type of text, and that is biography. Now, 6. The Crazy Loves by Robin C. Boswell. So in this play, King is desperate to marry off firstborn son and successor Prince Valens. So he arranged a courtship with 3 princes, one who's pretty, one who's rich, and one is intelligent. So prepare for drama as the Prince Valens navigates a moral minefield in a quest to find what he values most. Readers and viewers may cringe a bit as the play progresses. Their spirits will be raised after the big wedding scene at the end. Okay. We know that this is meant to be in this play. As soon as you read the word play, we know this is drama. This is meant to be acted on a stage. And because it has a happy ending, it will be raised after the big wedding scene at the end. We know that spirits will be raised. Means this phrase means that people will be happy, will feel joy. So this is drama and comedy. Drama, comedy. Tragedy, no. Tragedy, if the prince died, or if something horrible happened, that would make this a tragedy. But this is not. 7. Sally and Thunder and Roland and the Rattlesnake retold by Donald Davis. Okay, just reading the word retold or adapted, we know that this folklore and every pilgrim and cowboy worth a lick of salt knows that Sally and Thunder and Roland is the roughest, toughest cowgirl on the frontier. But do you know how she got her lasso? Lasso is basically the rope that cow person, cowgirl or cowboy uses, and it has a noose in its end and uses to catch cattle or horses, general cattle. So, well, it started when one of them rattlesnakes. This is written in a very kind of what is it, conversational writing, that it is grammatically wrong. So when one of the rattlesnakes, one rattlesnake went crazy, that would be the grammatically correct way. But anyway, because this is retold and this is not written with the intention to, this is not written by someone with the intention of writing it correctly, grammar-wise. So this has some grammar mistakes. Don't worry about that. Well, it started when one of them rattlesnakes went crazy enough to bite old Sally. It wasn't just regular rattlesnake, more of the anaconda variety. It being about 20 feet long, the snake tried to sink its teeth into Sally's calf and darned if he knew it. His teeth bent right round flat. Sally, feeling a little tickle on her calf, looked down to see the rattlesnake, and don't you know it? She picked the rattlesnake up, stretched him out, and she has been using him as a lasso ever since. Ah, Sally. Okay, you could make this. I did not write down tall tale at the end of this, but this is actually tall tale. This is where, in the Wild West, where everything is exaggerated. People are strong. They write strong legends, and it's basically made up. But this is not a legend. A legend is a story that maybe at some point was true, but it's not now. This is what false. This is made up. Obviously made up. Everything is exaggerated. So this is a tall tale, actually. If you have written legend and okay, fiction, realistic fiction. Okay, what kind of rattlesnake is 20 feet long? And even if it is, what kind of person feels a tickle, just a little tickle, on their calf when they are actually bitten by a rattlesnake? So this is obviously not realistic fiction, and this is retold. See, retold by Ronald Davis. So we know this is not fiction. This is folklore and tale. If you had chosen legend, I would accept it. But this is not poetry. This is not. Anyway, No More Uniforms by Gabe Gosman. So in this stirring essay, Gosman attempts to convince readers that students at Valley View Junior High School should not have to wear uniforms anymore. He has 3 solid points that he elaborates in his 40 paragraphs. Uniforms restrict students' expression, uniforms are uncomfortable and distract students, and uniforms prevent neither gang activity nor the overt display of gang affiliation. Okay, now let's go there. Okay, before we go there, just by reading this, we know that the intention of this essay is to convince, right? So Gosman attempts to convince. Convince means persuade. Make you say, yes, nonfiction persuasive. You are absolutely right. This nonfiction theme. Yep. Okay, that's that. But before we go on. Okay, there you did not talk about any topics, but anyway, these are the topics that I would cover, but unfortunately, we don't have enough time. But before I log off, I want to share Notion site with you. So the Notion site that we have been talking about a lot. And let me do that. Now I'm sure you can see my screen. So this is the Notion site, right? So this is the site which I am going to copy the link of and send you in the chat box, just so you guys have it. This is the Notion site, and this is what we have done so far. You can see that in this Notion site we had the timeline, and this is session 16 and July 30th, and from 3 to 4:30. And these are the sessions, and if you click on any session, you will see the embedded link of YouTube there, YouTube video there, and you will be able to just click on any session and see the videos. And if you come here on resources for practices, you can see for part one nonfiction, you can click here and see all the different topics that we have covered during this program. I will be posting and adding passages and practice for you all, and the practice will be on Google Forms. And you can see I have not added any right here, but anyway, so these topics will have at least two practices, and each topic will have at least two practices. And you have part 3, is grammar and language activity, verb, parts of speech and verb tense. We'll cover some more, but anyway, you have to, if you really want to get ready for GED and practice, this is, I think, one of the greatest tools you can have. And I've said this in here. You can see the nice new shows of practice will be posted throughout the next month, August 2022. So keep visiting this page to access materials. And that is that. I hope you guys enjoyed this session, and thank you.
All right, thank you. That was very insightful. Thank you for your participation. I hope that everyone gained lots of insights from today's session. We would also like to thank our facilitator today, Zakaria, for sharing your knowledge with us. And don't forget to follow our social media for fun contents and so much more. We are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at AT America. You can also be a member through our website at america.or.id. All right, with that, thank you so much for joining. It is time to say goodbye. My name is Adila, and I will see you at the next At America event. Bye bye.